Welcome to Mainland Television Regional News. I'm Graham O'Brien, and coming up in today's bulletin, Nelson Doctor wins financial reward in Clinicians Challenge. Waimea Estate gets gold and trophy. Smugglers tender their best. Mad Meat comes to town. Mako player shows support by going pink. Region's biggest judo tournament. The Nelson Hospital Glance System, developed in Nelson Hospital by Dr. Tom Morton, has won the Health Informatics New Zealand Clinicians Challenge 2014 with his innovative Emergency Department ED at a glance, which is an electronic whiteboard that shows at a glance the patient's name, how long they have been in ED, which cubicle they are in, symptoms and testing. The program links with the Clinical Information System, giving ED staff access to patients' notes and radiology and laboratory results as they come through. The winner was announced this week on Tuesday night after 3 shortlisted entries. Each gave an 8-minute presentation to judges at the Heinz Annual Conference in Auckland. Dr. Morton received a $10,000 grant. Dr. Tom Morton said that this award was a great honour and wanted to thank the hospital's IT team, especially Chris Flaherty and Darren Markham, who helped to develop their system over a number of years. He said the ED at a glance system is truly homegrown and was very complex to develop. Being a collaborative project, he also thanked the ED staff for their contribution to the system, saying we've come up with a product worth celebrating. While on the awards front, Mainland's Chrissy Small stopped into Waimea Estate this week and spoke with General Manager and Viticulturalist Ben Blutho about their Waimea Gruner Veltliner 2014, which was awarded a gold medal, and then went on to win the River Sun Trophy for the best New Zealand wine in the 14th Annual Australian Alternative Varieties Wine Show.
So it's the Australian Alternative Wine Competition, which has been running for, I think, 14 years to date. New Zealand wines have only been eligible to enter for 12 of those 14 years. I guess when the Australians saw sense that New Zealand needed to be included. This year is the first year that River Sun, the nursery that imports a lot of the new varieties into New Zealand, has sponsored the best New Zealand wine in the show. And of course that's the trophy that Waimea won this year with our Gruner Veltliner.
Yeah. Okay. Look, you've got many award-winning wines here.
Yep.
It would be difficult for anyone to know which one to have. But of course this is the latest winner, and people of course can come down here to your cellar door.
Yeah, we can come down to the cellar door at Waimea Estates, and the Gruner Veltliner is available there, along with our other entire selection of award-winning wines.
Right.
And Waimea's had quite a good week this week. We've had the Sydney Top 100 show announced, where we've won Blue Gold for our Sauvignon Blanc 2014, and also the Gruner Veltliner 2014 in that show, and then of course the Alternative Australian Wine Show, where the Gruner won the gold and the trophy, and just recently the Air New Zealand Wine Awards, where we won a pure gold for our Waimea 2014 Pinot Gris.
Goodness, so gold.
Good week.
That will equate to dollars, I would imagine, with demand.
It does in demand. You don't necessarily get more for the wine because it's won the medals, but it's certainly the demand and the perception and the appetite for people to buy our wine is increased when you can prove that what's in the bottle's perfect.
Ben, what do you have in the soil that makes your grapes special?
What do we have in our soil that makes it special? Well, generally on the Waimea Plains, our soils are stony, alluvial soil, so there's a lot of rock, a lot of the availability of nutrients in that soil is suppressed, because basically, to talk about it as if you've got a fuel tank in your car and you drop a whole lot of rocks in it, you can't get as much petrol in there. So the same thing happens on the Waimea Plains, that you drop all the rocks in there and there's only a little bit of soil around them, and that's where all the nutrients and life for the vines sit. So naturally, the availability of nutrients that produces vigour is not as large in our soils here, and that suppresses the vigour and increases the concentration on the grapes. Yeah.
Oh, Ben, look, congratulations.
Yep.
Fantastic. It's great to see our local wines doing well overseas and internationally, and we just want to keep seeing more of it. So thank you very much.
It's a great honour on behalf of Waimea Estates to be able to put Nelson forward in the way we do.
Nelson local McKinlay Clark, aka Mac, from the Smugglers Bar and Cafe, is flying up to Auckland next week to compete in the Stella Artois National Draft Masters next Wednesday. He was nominated by Smugglers Management to represent their business. 20 Stella Artois bartenders from all around the country have been handpicked to compete in the national final, all with the goal to take out one of the New Zealand's most prestigious titles, the New Zealand Stella Artois Draft Master. The finalists will have to compete in a variety of tasks. This is potentially the break of a lifetime for Mac, as the winner of the final will go on to represent New Zealand at the Stella Artois World Draft Master Competition, taking place in Wimbledon in 2015. Not only will they have an unforgettable trip, but the winner of this will become an international brand ambassador for Stella Artois. The role will see the winner jet-setting around the world for a year. We went to Smugglers to speak with Mac, their contender. We all pour beer from time to time. We look at that and say, wow, that's a perfect beer, but Stella Artois is looking for the person who can pour the best beer perfect every time. Can you tell us a little bit about the competition, that the world-renowned competition that Stella Artois is running, and how you got there and what it's all about?
So basically there's 9 steps to pouring Stella Artois, and we're looking to get each step perfect. So Laura from Lion, she came down a few weeks ago, and she's been going around New Zealand marking everyone off, making sure they're getting all the steps right. And luckily for me, I got down to the top 20 in New Zealand. So I'll be going up to Auckland on Wednesday to compete against the final 20 and pour it out, have a pour battle basically. So we face off each other, and it's a knockout round to see who can get to the top.
Oh,
yeah,
that's fantastic.
Yeah. So the person who comes first in that competition will then head over to England and compete against the best in the world to represent Stella as a brand ambassador. So fingers crossed. Well, I'm just going to keep my sights set on the Auckland one first. So yeah, make sure I'm good for that.
Usually with a competition, you have some sort of lead up to it that you sort of drill yourself. Have you been doing any sort of special training for it?
Well, we've had the local touch team, the Hardcourt touch team, coming in every Thursday, and they've been asking me questions about it and stuff. There's 16 guys that always come in, so I get to pour a lot of Stella for them, and they're great guys. They've been helping me out a lot. And 2 guys from Air Nelson who just were staying at the Beachcomber next door. They used to come in pretty much every night, and they'd let me pour them a few Stellas. So yeah, we've had the locals helping me out, so that's been good for us. Yeah, well, good for me anyway. Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's what you need, the local support, don't you?
Definitely. Yeah.
Mac, you're going to represent Nelson and New Zealand. Has the award been won by Nelson or New Zealand before?
I'm not too sure about Nelson, but New Zealand in the World Draft Masters has won it about 3 times, so they've done quite well, and that's been going since 1998 or 1997, I believe. So New Zealand's definitely got a good chance of winning, and I hope I'm going to be one of the next ones, definitely. So I'm originally from England, but I can represent the Kiwis pretty well, I'd say. Definitely, yeah.
Excellent. Well, thanks very much for that, and all the best for the competition.
Okay, no worries. Thank you very much. Cheers.
Just to show that Mainland does good investigative reporting, we best try the product. They say it's always good for consumer choice when a large food chain comes and spreads its wings into a town. One of these, which has just arrived in Stoke, is the Mad Butcher. The Mad Butcher shop will be opening in the old Stoke Rugby Club, which will make it the 40th in the country. Some of the old rugby ghosts may not be too happy with the Rugby League Mad Butcher taking over their traditional stomping grounds. However, the residents of Stoke will be stoked to have one of the biggest suppliers of meat in the country to compare prices. We sent James over to the new store to speak with franchise owner Daniel Perrin.
Hi there, I'm here today down in Stoke with Daniel Perrin to talk about the opening of the new Mad Butcher store. So Daniel, is this the first store that you've owned?
Yeah, it's my first butcher shop. I was lucky enough to get offered the franchise for the Mad Butcher. I'm a qualified butcher by trade, so I think, it was way back when I left school as an 18-year-old. I went out and got my certificate and worked as a butcher for 6 or 7 years before sporting career took over that.
Oh, awesome. And how was it you did connect with the Mad Butcher, Peter Leach?
I sort of met him a couple of times doing some promos when I was away playing rugby, but pretty much it was just touching base, making contact sort of early in 2013 to see if they were keen on getting a store in Nelson, and it's just flowed from there.
So you've got your big opening coming up on Friday the 14th. What can people expect from that?
They can expect a busy little butcher's shop. Well, a busy big little butcher's shop, I think it is. The team's in there flat out at the moment, cutting and prepping everything, with a 40th store to be opened in New Zealand. And we're just aiming to bring the everyday meat prices in Nelson down and offering a good quality. So I think when people come in, they're going to be pretty blown away. It's definitely nothing like this that people have seen in Nelson. Obviously, if you've been to a Mad Butcher's previously outside of Nelson, you would know what we're about, but for Nelsonians I think it's going to be pretty exciting. Like I said, everyday low meat prices with good quality.
Awesome. Well, thank you for your time and good luck with the opening.
No worries, thanks very much.
Tasman Marco's rugby union representative player David Havili will be switching colours and working out in pink at the annual boot camp for breast cancer this Sunday, November the 16th, as a show of his support for the event, which marks a finale of 2 months of fundraising activities organised by Nelson Regional Breast and Gynecological Cancer Trust. Trustee Kate Coote says there are still entries available for the 2-hour fun-focused boot camp, which raised over $13,000 last year. She strongly encourages all Nelsonians to follow David's lead to come along to the event this Sunday. It's a 2-hour low-level boot camp, which is really more about having fun while working out. And there are prizes for the best dressed woman, man and team, with pink being the natural obligatory colour. Boot camp for breast cancer run by trainer Greg Whittaker from Wairua Body Coaching Systems will take place from 10 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. Registration takes place at 9:30 this Sunday, November the 16th at Nelson Girls College. You can register online at the Nelson Regional Breast Cancer Trust website. This Sunday we have the region's biggest judo tournament being held in our local dojo at Whakatū Estates above Hislop's Motors. I spoke with Nelson Judo President Lindsay Kelly in the studio to talk about the championship coming up this weekend. Okay, Lindsay, you've got a big tournament coming up. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, just a local dojo in the Whakatū Industrial Estate. This Sunday we're holding the Central District's closed tournament, which basically encompasses all the clubs in the top of the South Island, from Kaikoura, Blenheim, Pelorus, Motueka. They're all invited. Wow. And so all weights categories, all age categories. So it should be a pretty huge tournament for this region, somewhere between the region of 70 people entered.
Wow, that's fantastic for the area as well, as for judo and the area.
Yeah, and judo seems to be really taken off after the huge success that the New Zealand team had at the Commonwealth Games. Yep. More and more people are becoming interested. The profile has been raised, and it's the interest level is really and our junior club is just going from strength to strength.
Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah. What sort of numbers have you got in your juniors?
For the juniors, we're looking at like 20 kids on the mat, aging from 5 to 6 up to early teenagers.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not only a great fitness. I mean, the mental strength that it takes, and the discipline that it involves.
The tenacity that they show you, because you get knocked down, dust yourself off, go again. They're learning balance, control, strength and coordination, and a good element of discipline, which stands them in good stead for the whole of their life, really.
Yeah. Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah. And how is Nelson doing in the national level, and is there any international competitions that they're entering in from Nelson?
We have somewhere in the region of 4 to 5 regular national team players. Wow. I guess the top ranking from the region would be Mark Brewer from Motueka. He's recently just come back from the Commonwealth Games, and he's an inspiration to many of our senior players and budding up-and-coming players. David Jordan is in the same weight category as Mark. He's gone over to train in Sydney with Mark. Louise Kelly, she's over in Sydney as well. So this weekend, Australia is hosting the biggest tournament outside the Olympic Games.
Wow.
With 26 countries
Wow.
coming in. So that's a huge tournament. We also have Keegan Elmers, who's currently injured, not through judo, but through mountain biking. She's on the national team. And we also have Finn Sweetman, under 73 kg player, who's going from strength to strength. So,
Wow.
so nationally and internationally, we're definitely punching above our weight.
Yeah,
for
no,
sure,
that's
yeah.
good. And with those players out, there's a good chance for some of the third or fourth ranked players to actually
Yeah.
come through and shine and get
For
those
sure.
medals.
Yeah, and with those kind of guys out the way, as it were, the next generation have got the opportunity to seize upon it. But the main role of the senior players is, they come back with their experience and they pass it on to the next generation. What they've learned, what they've seen, methods of training, and they bring it all back to the club. Mark Brewer is a huge advocate of that. He's travelled around the world.
Yeah.
And he'll come back and we'll tie up with our head coach for the seniors, which is John Maxwell. And they put together a setup and we'll work towards that. And for the juniors, we have Brett, who runs a very strict, tight class, which a lot of the parents appreciate, and the kids kind of really warm to it. They really need that sort of figure to guide them and sort of move them through. And clubs
great.
doing really well.
Sounds really positive.
Yeah.
And everyone, we think of judo as a pretty rough and tumble sport, though I know there's a lot less injuries in judo than there is in, say, rugby, especially head injuries. Do you think anyone can join at any stage in their life? Do you have
for
older
sure.
guys join? Or
A lot of the parents of the kids that come along, they see the kids progressing, and they hop on to the seniors mat afterwards. And we recently had a bit of a thing where we got the parents onto the mat to try and hold their kids down.
Oh, yeah.
And they were actually blown away how they couldn't do it. So some of them had a bit of a shock. So there's no real striking.
No.
You do get a few sort of niggly injuries. It is a contact sport. But a lot of rugby players come to us for training, during the off season.
Yep.
Because tackling the impacts and how to move and how to position themselves.
Yeah.
So the two sports complement each other very well, actually.
Yeah, no, it's great. And I know learning how to fall is a huge bonus
Yeah.
throughout your life, because how many times do you fall over and get injured?
Exactly. Small trips, crashing mountain bikes, or older folk stumbling over stuff as their eyesight is not so good. Teaching them how to fall and roll, so a lot less bone injuries. And so we have both sexes, male and female, of all age groups coming, and you find a lot of people that have maybe done sport in the past. They've got a level of balance and coordination, and they bring it with them when they step on the mat.